Welcome everybody to another episode of the Career Talks podcast. I'm your host, as always. I haven't said that part in a while, Orlando Haynes. Definitely excited for tonight's guest. But before I bring this gentleman on, make sure you are preparing your questions. Say hello to everyone as you join in. Network with each other. Say hello to us, as well as make sure you share where you're tuning in from. Uh, Whether you're local or not, and have some questions ready because I'm sure this is going to be a great conversation with this gentleman. If you've seen the promo video, or should I say promo flyer, Rogers Vane, he is a dynamic person in the career space development. I met Roger probably 2-3 years ago here on LinkedIn, as always, while meeting all these phenomenal guests. He had me on his platform sharing some career advice. That absolutely loved it. And it was about time for me to return the favor to bring this young brother on and share his experience. He has a vast background, highly educated brother, doing his thing, business owner. He is the executive director and professional coach of My Digital LLC. His background's in project management, business analyst, so very analytical gentleman. When you speak with him, he knows what he knows. And I'm extremely excited for him to come on the scene and share his expertise. So without further ado, let me bring on Mr. Rogers Vane. What's going on, sir? How are you?
Hey man, how you doing? Thanks for having me. I much appreciate it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. It was about time, like I said, that I returned the favor for you to share your wisdom and expertise with my viewers on this platform. Well overdue. Well overdue. But before we get started into the topic at hand, which is a great topic, share with the folks more about you and your background and your expertise.
Okay, well, again, thank you for this opportunity to be here on your show. Definitely enjoy having you on Career Coach Talk on my platform. I think it was about, like you said, about a year and a half ago, whatever. You came and joined me on there. We enjoyed you as well. So to let everybody kind of know where I'm from, my name is Rogers Veen. I'm a certified professional coach. I've been doing this work I started my business back in 2006. So that's officially when I created my LLC. But as far as being a coach and being a person that has helped people with their career choices and career paths, that's something I've kind of been doing since I became, a big brother. I'm the oldest of five. So growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm the oldest of five. I have four younger brothers. And one of the things that I did as the oldest is like go out there, figure stuff out, come back and kind of show my brothers what I ran into, both good, bad, and indifferent. And I was kind of groomed in doing that type of role, growing up even as a child. So that's the role I typically fell into when they came into creating my friend circles, professional circles, or things of that nature. So it's kind of inbred in me that way. I didn't know coaching was the thing until I ran into the biggest problem, in which I actually wrapped my entire business around. So when I first started My Digital Self LLC, we created, resumes, and we did online profiles to help people get jobs, interview prep, things of that nature. But as I was helping people get jobs and people liked the resumes and it was getting in these different positions, what I found is that people always commented, or several people would comment that how much they hate their jobs. Oh man, thank you for helping me get this job. I can pay my bills, all that good stuff. But man, I really hate this job. And I kept hearing it so much to where I felt like that was the real problem. And being an analyst, being a project management and analyst, as you mentioned before, I like to solve the actual root cause of the problem. So it's a problem that people need resumes and need to get jobs, or is the problem is that people hate their jobs and they need to be put into the right positions, so they should be able to enjoy what you do. It needs to be a natural extension of who you are. And guess what? You can make good money and probably even more money in that regard. So I spent some time with my business trying to figure out an answer to that question. And that brought me to what the title of our conversation is going to be about today is discovering what your career identity is. So that's a little bit about me. Like I said, a couple of highlights. I'm born and raised in New Orleans. Got my degree in information systems, degree in master's of organizational leadership, certified professional coach, actually certified life coach, and I'm certified in neuro linguistic programming, which is a whole nother thing. But basically, That's the type of coaching that Tony Robbins is certified in. So I got all that to help me help people find their career identity to solve that ultimate problem that I discovered when I started my business.
Love it, love it, love it. I didn't even know, yeah, the neuralistic piece there. So you really going deep into someone's psyche to understand what they really look for.
It helps,
That's good.
eventually I want to kind of be able to show a digital mirror, like, okay, this is you, what I'm saying? This is who you are. So typically think about when you get dressed, you're sharp right now. I'm just trying to keep up with you, what I'm saying? You're sharp, but you had to get in front of the mirror and say, okay, what looks good on me? What colors
Hmm.
match me? What I'm saying? What type of message do I want to present with this look? We need to have that same approach when it comes to our career identity. What looks good on us? How do we want to present ourselves? What we want the outcome to be with this particular presentation. And that's what we help people do.
Love it, love it. I'm gonna say hi for a few folks who are tuning in. Farah, thank you for joining us. She says I'm a nurse career coach. Dale Lang Hall, so I'll say Dale Hall in case I mispronounce your middle name. Appreciate you joining. Orlando Spencer, what's up? Yep, namesake, brother. Great name. Uh, Diane Williams, thank you for joining, sis. Uh, so we're going to get right to it because this conversation can go fast because it's a phenomenal topic, finding your career identity. But let me first ask you, what led you into coaching, and then we'll fast forward to why this is so important right now, and how did that come together for you to talk about finding a career identity.
Okay. So first of all, let's get a shout out to Farrah. I see she says she's a nurse career coach. So hey,
Hmm.
Farrah, thanks for watching. If there are any other coaches out there, what I'm saying, I'll put a comment in. We'll shout you out as well. But to answer your question, how I got into this, I didn't know coaching was a thing. You
Hmm.
know, all I was doing, as I mentioned earlier, was I was solving the root cause of an issue. If for my fellow software developers out there and fellow project managers out there, we're real big on finding the root cause of something so we can fix that, so we don't have to always have to deal with the symptoms, right? And so the root cause was, I found that people don't know who the heck they are professionally. They don't know who they are. So and those who seem to be so great and amazing and who we laud so much are people sometimes who accidentally fell into a position that allowed them to present the best version of themselves. you know
Correct.
and we hold those people in such a high regard, but in actuality, the fact that you were born with some specific abilities, specific skills, is a reason why you're here. You fit into the world puzzle some type of way, saying, otherwise you wouldn't really be here. So the question isn't, do I have an identity? Do I have something I think of great value that I bring to this equation, this world equation? The question is, what is it? And what introspective process we need to do in order to get that? And that kind of leads me into answering your next question: is why is this important? I mean, this has been important since inception, right? But the thing about now, why it's so now important, is that um, the world market for careers and how people can work has expanded. You no longer have to be physically sitting somewhere to be a competitive candidate for jobs anymore. I could be sitting somewhere in Canada and beat somebody out who's sitting in Alabama for a job that's in Florida. That is a lot more prevalent to occur now than it ever has. So now you have to position, now it's even more pertinent upon ourselves, more important that we understand, position ourselves for the best amount of success we can get. And the way you can do that is to know who you are. And that way, nobody can beat you to be a better version of you than you. And so you go into those arenas, that authenticity and that greatness that you have innately comes across in the interview. I'm an interviewer. I hire people. What I'm
Hmm.
saying? You can see it, right? What I'm saying? So to position yourself to get the results like that, you have to start off with, the question is, who am I? So that's kind of that's why it's important, and that's how I fell into it.
I like that. I like that. So let's begin to unpack it a bit because I like to dive deep, and you're an analytical guy, so I'm sure this you'll appreciate that. So when we're talking about, I'll take a step back. The whole reason why I started this podcast, right, is to grow the network, build visibility, personal branding, but also to provide actionable advice to to the job seekers. So if we're looking at a systems process, you're again project managers, you're all about systems and looking at that, breaking it down. Um, what would be step one as you're talking to your clients? Okay, we're sitting down. Hey, let's start this plan of finding your, your career identity. What are you walking them through step by step?
So try not to give too much of the secret sauce away, right?
Right.
But ultimately, a lot of the approach, sometimes people, a lot of coaches may say, okay, sit you down and say, okay, tell me what you want to, what you want to do, and I can help you get there, or we can see about helping you get there. That's not my approach. I'm not going to assume I'm going to say, let's take a journey together. Let's do deep dive and let's say, okay, let's figure out who you are. Do you know what your, it may sound a little weird, but it's kind of interesting how much your name and how much, if you look at the definition of your actual name, first and last, you'll be interested in some of the things you can learn from that. Mm-hmm. What's your personality traits? What do people typically always come to you for assistance with professionally and personally? What do you want your career to produce for you? What type of lifestyle do you really, really want for yourself? So, and what are your innate abilities? What I'm saying? What are the skills that you have naturally developed, and what are skills you find yourself easy to learn quickly than most others, almost anybody that you know? These type of questions, doing that deep dive and putting all these things together helps you put together a profile of yourself, and once you get detailed answers to a lot of these questions and a few others, to start putting some identifications around grouping these things together into a statement, into a definition, it answers a lot of your questions that you may have as far as what type of job I need to be doing, what level do I want to do with that? Because one of the questions I asked you, what do you want the career to produce for you? Do you want to live in an apartment? Do you want to live in a lake house? Do you want to live in city square? Do you want to, work on a boat? That answers the questions. Okay, what level I need to get to, and answers the questions. What type of things I need to educate myself in order to get there. Answer the questions. Where do I need to live that pays the type of money that people do what I do the most? You know what I'm saying? So all those questions that we have are truly not questions of an external nature, but they have an internal nature if you do the homework first. So that's some of the things that I walk my clients through when I work with them.
Got it. So it sounds like I'll take try to do a quick synopsis of what you said. That stuck out to me was through those series of questions, you're developing one, because you said write this stuff down, is like developing a mission statement of what they're looking for their career to be, which is huge, right? A lot of us don't know what that looks like. We don't set the vision. We don't make it plain. So we're a little confused as to that journey that we're trying. We're just going aimlessly from career to career. Mm-hmm. Which is a huge point.
North Star. What is your North Star? So that way, exactly. when a whole bunch of things around you can get chaos, because life happens, right?
Yep.
All you gotta do is kind of look up, remember where your North Star is, so you know you're going in the right direction.
Got it. So what would be point one? So after you've gathered that data, someone says, whatever they say, I want to be, an HR manager or a project manager. What's next step for them? Is it homework that you'll send them to do research? Or is it a little more defining? How do you know that it's their true North Star? Again, without giving too much of the secret sauce.
Yeah. So the data doesn't lie. The information doesn't lie. Almost like when you're working out, your pants size don't lie. Either you're losing weight or you're not, right? The information, because we're not like just completely dependent on the MBTI. You're not completely looking at a zodiac sign. You're not completely looking at your name meaning. You're looking at all the data, like the stuff I mentioned earlier, together, and you're going to find that pattern. So as far as the question of is this the right direction is not really a concern, because everything we've gathered is you, all of it's you. And once you're able to put it into that mission statement form that you mentioned earlier, it becomes that North Star. So it's going to speak to you on the inside. The aha moments that clients has had that lit up like, oh my God, this is it. That's who you know it. So since it's an introspective process, it's also a moment of epiphany that occurs, right? When they get that. So as far as it being the right direction, that's never been an issue with any client I've ever worked with. Now, as far as what they do next, is that's where my project management background kind of comes into play. That's as far as my approach, because what you do for project management, for those out there who have done this type of work before, you look at what we call current state. Where am I right now? What am I making? Where am I living? What are my credentials? What are my skill sets? Where am I today? Now, then you create a next version called future state. This is the awesome version of me that's doing this type of role, working at this level or whatever. So you can list that out, juxtapose them, and start working on the deltas, right? Prioritize and look at the deltas and start knocking them down one by one by one by one. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. You didn't get where you were overnight, but over time, and a lot of times, a lot faster than you may realize, since you're literally working towards a version of your natural self that's just at a higher level, you're going to get there, pretty succinctly. So that's the process at that point.
I love it. I have a question, but I'm gonna take one from Farrar because they're coming in. She said, "What would you tell someone who is hesitant about using a career coach?" And thanks for tuning in from Canada. She's from Canada.
Oh, cool. So I have this philosophy that either you're my client or you're not my client. A person needs to be, one thing we cannot teach from a coach's standpoint is being ready A person has to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of being where they are, just like we have to do anything. If I didn't know how to make gumbo and I keep going there and messing up the gumbo, eventually either they're going to be ready to go hire somebody to show them or get somebody to show them how to make it, or they're going to keep messing it up and wasting their time and energy and money and all that good stuff. So that's my answer now to that is, are they ready? And that's one of the first assessments I would make. That's when the NLP kind of help comes in. You kind of assess and vet the person and say, okay, is this person actually ready to make the investment? They're ready to make a change, right? Because if they are, they'll invest their time, they'll invest their energy, and they'll invest their money into getting this process going.
Got it. So with that, again, going back to your project management style of coaching, again, very systematic approach. Are you giving them a roadmap that says, until you complete this, we can't achieve this? And if you have an example of that, without, again, going into too much detail of what that would look like when someone partners with you to say, okay, yeah, he's laid out 3 steps. I'm not sure about 1. It seems out my comfort zone. I like number 2 because it seems easy, but I can't even progress to number 2 because he has me tasked on number 1.
So, well, my question at that point is, what is the block there for number 1? Because again, it's number 1 for a reason, right? We've done the work. We've done all the systematic work, all the data that we've collected about you is all you, and it all points to this being number 1 and that being number 2 and number 3, in that respect. So what is the block? A lot of times it's just something internal. It's something in their mind, or they've allowed some type of external circumstance to get in the way of them getting past that first hurdle. Like I said, I focus on the career lifestyle, but I am certified life coach, even though I don't do full-on life coaching. And what the cool thing about this is that when you start to address some of these blockers that's getting you a way to move forward in your career and professional progression, you start to identify some life changes that needs to occur, right? So, and then you have to make a question. Like a question, is this life change that is in my way, work keeping me where I'm at, or am I willing to make the change there so I could keep moving forward and get past hurdle number 1? So that I found that to be an issue. Say a lot of times, like for example, one thing that I've noticed some of my clients have had an issue with is that, wow, if I want to do this, and this, that means that I'm gonna have to take this night class or get up in the morning and do this certain thing, which means it's going to extend my work day for the next couple of years, between doing their day job and doing and making progress in their goals. Yeah. Wait a minute. So if I need to extend my work day from 6 to 8 o'clock, which means I need 2 extra hours of energy, which means I got to do something in the morning. So I take vitamins and everything to get a workout in to give me that extra energy to push me forward through the day. Yeah, that's all part of it.
It's like Rogers is not shaking. He's like, yeah.
That's
what did you expect?
The thing about it is that, because think about it, where they're going, that's going to be their new modus operandi in order for them
Mm,
to stay there, right? You know what I'm saying? For our sports fans out there, we want our people, the people on the various teams that we support, our big players on the team, to do the work and work out and do what they need to do. They got to get up at 4 a.m. and that's going to be a championship at the end of the year. We want them to get up at 4 a.m., right? You have those levels of high expectations for them because of what they signed up to be. You signed up to be whatever it is that you are. That's you know what I'm saying. So you
mhm.
should hold yourself to that same level of standard because you should be looking to to win the championship in whatever it is that you're doing. Not necessarily beating any other person, but beating that old version of self. You know what I'm saying? Be better than that last version of self, and you'll get yourself a championship every year, and that's the goal.
Got it. So let's unpack a little bit in your words, identity. So when we're talking about finding your career identity,
Mhm.
is there more to that? Because you alluded to it earlier about the appearance. What else goes in that? Per your definition.
So one of my favorite questions I would ask somebody when it comes to their career, I say, okay, so who are you professionally? Who are you? A lot of times they'll give me whatever their current title is.
Hmm.
And that's not, you know what I'm saying? Very rarely that's actually the right answer. You know what I'm saying? What I'm really asking is, who are you? What problem are you here to fix? Or what product or service are you here to present? You know what I'm saying? That adds value to the professional community overall, right? So that is what your identity is. I'm here to do X, and it's a very distinct the way the way I have the statement created that we create, it's not
Hmm.
like I'm here to help people. It's not that generic. It's very, very specific building of a statement that forces you to ask yourself a lot of those introspective questions so that statement actually matches. So that's in overall from a high level, that's what that is.
Got it. And I'm gonna rebrand that instead of mission statement, call it the career identity statement in lieu
Okay.
of this title
So,
for you. So, which because it's so self reflective. I like the fact that you said you're digging in deep, and you said it's all you. So whatever we come up with, it's all you. I
mhm.
didn't add to it. You added. I just asked some questions to draw it out, and that's powerful. I love that. I love that thing there. So with that, again, as we're and I'm all about step by step process. It was funny because I was recently looking at my personal Burke assessment, and was it true based on my personality? And to that point, it was an epiphany. And even with the question you just asked, my first thought was, do I say talent acquisition professional? So, but how you rephrase it, I was like, yeah. Last show I did, I was with Fanny Dunnigan, who's all about content creation, and she educates folks on that. And she shared with me this article on LinkedIn that was written by one of the editors there about create an employee. And this, I'll bring it to a close. Is that gave me the epiphany of my goal is to be able to empower employees who have the ability to create content on this LinkedIn platform that will create a synergy between their personal brand and company brand and to add value. So
Okay.
that's where my mission
Now,
has just quickly shifted.
allow me to capture that. See what you
Yep.
just said. If you put that down, put it on something, and then sit it there, and everything you do needs to be attached to that. It's just a quick coaching moment. And if you're
Yep.
doing something or operating in a way that is counterproductive to that, you need to ask yourself, how much time and energy do I want to put towards that that's not bringing me closer to fulfilling this? You
Yep.
know, because it's an embodiment of why you're here. Literally, it's the embodiment of why you're here. So everything you're doing professionally, and a lot of even I'm even be bold enough to say even a lot of your personal things that you would do, saying needs to be attached in some shape or form or fashion to that.
Love it. Love it. Well, that's it, folks. I got what I needed. So no, no. And that's one of the other reasons why I did the pod. I'm starting the podcast or doing the podcast is for
Mhm.
self education as well. So, in meeting talented people like yourself. So we're continuing on the path of developing or finding, right? Finding that can be a journey. People trying to find out who they are just
Mhm.
personally
Yeah.
versus now we're adding career on top of that.
That's why I created an online course. I created an online course that walks people through it, video instructed, workbook download, go through it, and you'll come out with a much better understanding of what it is that I'm talking about.
Share a little bit about some of the items, maybe the titles of some of the coursework in there, the curriculum, not going
So
into
the
too much
coursework,
detail.
yeah, coursework basically is outlined. My website is mdself.com. It's available. You can review a lot of the details. I have it kind of broken out on the site. So you can just scroll down it and you can see the kind of things we cover. And basically the online course walks you through all of it. Video, like I said, video instructed, and can get you started. So it's kind of all laid out there.
Okay. How long would it take someone to get through that material? If self-paced,
Um,
obviously.
a person can do it over the course of a weekend, or it could take them, a month. It depends on how long it takes you to do the work to ask yourself. Because if you ask yourself some question like, too, where, like, like a question of what are my abilities? What do people really ask me about? Sometimes people can know that off the top of their head. Sometimes they got to go out there and do some research to put it together. You know what I'm saying? So this depends on how much time and effort they want to take to kind of get through it. But the steps are the steps. So wherever you stop, that's where you're going to pick up from. And that's why the course makes it easy to go ahead and pick it up from where you left off.
I want to circle back because you mentioned it earlier about why you did this, but I want to bring that back again. So where was that epiphany in your career where you're like, man, am I going down the right path? I need to figure out what my identity is. My identity is in my career.
Um, so I'll try to keep this pretty short, but when I realized how much it cost me not knowing is what my big epiphany it was. So I was working as a level 1 analyst for 5 years, not knowing that I was an assistant vice president level professional. So I worked as an analyst level 1 for 5 years until one of my coworkers got sick of me running circles around them as with the rest of the analysts. She gave me this alphanumeric number on a slip of paper, and I even have a whole podcast video about this. And she said, "Look this up and get out of our department," and walked off like she was just irritated. I was like, "What is she talking about? I'm a BA level 1, right?" And I looked it up in the system, and it was assistant vice president of ops. I'm like, what the heck is she talking about? I'm still trying to be a BA2, for the last 5 years. But when I looked at the job description, I was doing all of it already. And I lost at least 3.5, if not 4 years of VP level pay and standing working as a BA1 because I didn't know who I was. So that
Huge.
So the opportunity cost of that just drove it home for me. I was like, never again, So I wanted to solve a problem for myself after that. And being the big brother that I am, I want to make sure that anybody who's connected to me will have that problem solved as well.
So you just touched on something pretty cool, right? So your epiphany there was you identified, or your manager, identified your skill level versus the opportunities that were in, that organization.
It wasn't my manager. It was one of my coworkers. My manager.
Oh, your coworkers. Okay.
My manager was keeping me like, yeah, good. I'm getting VP level work out of a BA1, and they don't know it. It was one of my coworkers that got tired of me doing well. I didn't realize I was running circles around the other team members like that. I just thought I was just working my tail off trying to get to a BA2. That's because I didn't know. I didn't know where I was.
Man. So for anyone who's listening or catch the replay on that, it might be in the same situation, right? Where they feel they're outperforming their entire department. What did you do next after they showed you that? Because there's a system in that. There's steps that you took, right? What did you do next after you were like, wow?
So I looked at the hiring manager who was for that particular role, and I knew the guy. He was in another part of the building, so I just went to his office and I said, "Hey, man, I see you got this, AVP role open. I was wondering if it would be okay if I applied for it." He was like, "Rogers, I heard about you. You run the circles over there, right? Yeah, come on in. You want the job? It's yours." Didn't have to interview, nothing, because that's another lesson. A lot of times your reputation and what you're doing great precedes you. You just got to step into it. I didn't have to interview anything. He just hired me right there. So I went from a BA1 to an AVP in a matter of minutes.
Wow. Wow. So you just touched on another thing. It's performance, right? In personal branding, right? It was your personal brand. And I always quote Jeff Bezos in this when he says, your personal brand is what people say about you after you left the room. So people were already knowing your work value, and just like, he's probably thinking, what took you so long? But that's huge. Now, speak to, is that something you also talk to the folks about, just saying, hey, we're developing and you know creating this career identity mission statement for you, or career identity statement for you?
Mhm.
Are you a performer? Because if you're not, will this even work for you? Because
Mhm.
you already created a legacy, or an identity as a low performer versus a high performer.
Well, a low performer is not gonna pay me and then walk this entire process and put all this time and effort into this, and then take that and say, okay, that's me, that's great, put it on the shelf and walk away. At that point, it's just your fault, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, it's almost like buying a whole run full of workout materials and you hire a trainer and you don't show up and then meet up with him one day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's real, might as well, you put the investment in, you did the time, you did the work, you put together, we put this together. Now it's just time to execute. So the question, so again, that goes back to what we were talking about before. Are you ready? You know, and at some point, I would hope that anybody would get sick and tired of being sick and tired, like we would say, of being
Hmm.
at that one level, and just be ready to do whatever it takes to get there, whatever their catalyst can be, whatever their motivation is, whether it be internal situation or external things such as, say for my kids or for legacy, anything like that, you
Hmm.
know, whatever it is, I almost don't care. I just like to see people move forward and not waste time because I know what that feels like.
Right. Right. So you've been doing this for about, correct me if I'm wrong, close to 20 or over 20 years now.
Yeah,
Right.
almost. Yeah.
So now with that, what's the ideal avatar client for you, for those again that are tuning in and all catch the replay?
So as of right now, I'm creating the online tool to help produce more people that do what I do, right? To help more people to become scalable in this philosophy. I need more evangelists. So I'm creating an online tool right now. I have an offsite team overseas that's developing an online tool for people to create these group management profiles where they can execute the elements that I'm talking about in my program and be able to manage and track people, in their relative groups. So that's the next stage that I'm doing. I need to produce more people and make it easier for them to execute this methodology for more people. So that's what I'm in the process of doing right now.
Okay, and does that attract more mid to senior level folks?
Yeah,
Folks,
typically, yeah. I'm a good to great person. I don't know if you ever heard that book, Good to Great.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? And you get more bang for the buck making that type of change and not ignoring people that are not quote unquote at good level. Is because when you move people from good to great, what happens is that people that are good are usually attached to a bunch of people that are subpar, typically.
mm
You know what I'm saying?
mm
So when they go from good to great, they for the people that they're attached to, they have to get pulled up. They become the next good. At least half of the people they're connected to become the next level of good. And then I grab those good people, move them to great, and they keep the process going. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working with mid to high level professionals, that in mid level is at UK. There's no particular dollar amount or whatever. It's just
mm
you know who you are if you're a mid to a high level professional. And if you don't, if you have asked question, then then you kind of have already asked the question.
You need to
You
get the
know,
program. You need to
right?
get the program.
You know, so yeah, so that those are the people I typically want to work with. Ultimately, when people are ready, they're ready. And they'll jump in, and I've had clients go from making anywhere from, let's say for one example, I had one client who made about 26,000 a year. After working with me for 2 years, she went from making 25 to about 70, and then she was able to reproduce that again. Now she makes like between what 15 to 20,000 dollars a month because she was able to hone in more and more and more what she
hmm
naturally did double down on skills, reposition those skills into the next role, and follow the process over and over again. Once we had her identity, that she was able to take it and run with it. And anybody could do that. I had one guy who was making up, he was making like already making like 90,000, and he was able to triple his salary, just reprocessing and rebranding and remarketing the skills that he already had and focusing on his strengths. So this could happen with anyone. The sky is, it's literally the limit. It depends on, how much time and effort you want to put the work in.
And that was going to be my next question too, is to talk about share some of your client stories again without going into detail. But if you can unpack that a little bit, in case anyone like speak to the skill set they were in or industry they're in. Again, in case anyone who's in that, they'd be like, "Oh wow, so he can help me."
Yeah. So one person, she worked in as an administrator for a small office in a hospital. You know, but she was really good at connecting with people. She was really good at explaining things, making people feel comfortable with her. She was real good at understanding a particular domain or a particular product or a particular process, and helping people feel like they're a part of it. People, she's able to gain trust and having to walk people through a process that's preset. As long as she had the supporting area of the business areas around her to support what she was doing, she could really work it. So she was working that at a very, very low level. So we identified those skills, created an identity around that, replaced her into a different working environment, doing a slightly different type of job, but she was able to take those skill sets to become one of the top people operated in that. Once she capped out there, okay, these skill sets are also needed in what industry where I can maximize it. She did it again, became a top person there, then did it again, then became a top person there. It's almost like, going
Double
from high
down.
school to college to NFL, what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's just like that type of process. So, and that, again, that is a process that we need to do. I know CEOs of companies. You would think that once you became the CEO of a company, they kind of sit still. Unless you're the CEO of like a big company like Apple or AT&T, they typically don't stay no anywhere longer than 3 to 5 years max. They take their skill set, they make their KPIs, they learn, they take some things, and this is what I've learned, this is what I got good at here at this company, and they go become the CEOs somewhere else. So if CEOs are doing that 3 to 5 years, reinventing themselves, going from role to role to role to role, then why are we expected to take our professional lifestyles and our personal life and stay in one place for 10, 15, 20 years, making what 2 to 3% maybe more per year when inflation is sitting at 7% on average per year? You're losing money every year at that point.
Hmm.
So, we need to do a better job at managing our careers, and that's what she did, and she was able to reap the benefits from it.
It's funny because I was just thinking that yesterday about why is it so acceptable for CEOs to jump ship, go in with a 3 to 5 year plan, execute, deliver, results for the shareholders, and then bounce. And there's nothing said about it. It's just, oh wow, they were great, and now you shifted over here to here. It even, which is super cool. You've probably seen it. What's her name? I want to say Rosalind. Yeah, they
Okay.
call her Roz. She was the CEO of Starbucks, now shifted over to the CEO of Walgreens. So very, very few, maybe a handful of African American in a Fortune 500 CEO spot. Less than five, but I think at four, and one is a female. So
Mm-hmm.
that's funny. So let me ask you this: in what you're doing now, because the word imposter syndrome popped in my head, because you're talking about identifying. Right, we're talking about finding your identity. How
Mm-hmm.
much of that do you come across where people are just like, I don't know, or is it fear, or is it just imposter syndrome, thinking they're not capable?
The fact that you were born, you are capable of something. It's just finding out what it is.
Hmm.
Nobody, there's not a person on this planet that can walk up to me and say, I have no reason for being. If you didn't have any reason for being, I truly believe you wouldn't be here. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be here or you feel that way. What I'm saying is that we just need to find what that is. And there's a system to find that. What I'm saying? It doesn't, and if my system that I'm describing to you doesn't speak to you, then go find one that does. But that system exists. Your true passion, what you're here to do exists, and just go start the mission to go find it, and it will find you. It'll walk towards you as you walk toward it. Hopefully, I answered your question. I mean, I'm talking
Yep.
a little bit, but hopefully, I answered your question.
Nope. I love it. I love it. You just kind of hit them between the eyes. We're like, we're not even about to go down that that rabbit hole. Like no negativity here. Let's find it. Let's get on the bike and make it work. So I love that. So share with folks. I want to be mindful of the time. Like I said, I knew this conversation would go super super quick. Share with folks again the website to connect with your program.
So it's mdself.com. That it looks like medical doctors SELF, but it's mdself.com. It's short for My Digital Self. That's the name of the company. And actually, that's right here behind. Yeah,
There you go.
My Digital Self. Yeah, mdself.com is our website, and a lot of all the information about why we're here, what we're here to do. A lot of information is there. You can email me directly if you want. My name is on here, Roger Zavine. So you took the space out, Roger Zavine at mdself.com. You can email me directly there. Also, you can reach out to the organizational world at coach@mdself.com. So there's different ways to reach out to us, and and you can actually set up a consultation if you want. 15-minute talk. We can talk to one of myself or the partner coaches, and we'll be happy to see how we can help you.
Love it, love it. What about LinkedIn? You active?
Oh yeah, social media. I have my personal account here on LinkedIn. My business page is here on LinkedIn. I also have a personal and a business page on Facebook. I have a personal and business page on Instagram as well. So you can find me across those platforms.
Love it, folks. And if you have questions after you've seen this, thank you, Noel, for joining. Um, Definitely tag Rogers in your comments on the replay if you catch this. And I'm sure he'll be happy to fill those out. And again, mdself.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
mdself.com. This brother is say that one more time. The neuro certification you got, what is it?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Come on, man.
Neuro-linguistic programming. I went to a really good program to get trained in. If you want to know more about that, just reach out to me, and I'll be happy to share their training information. But it's really, really good. It's literally the exact type of coaching that Tony Robbins uses in his approach to coaching, especially when it comes to one-on-one. So all the stuff about like reading eye patterns and all that good stuff, you learn how to do all that stuff there. It's actually pretty cool.
That's powerful. That's powerful, brother. Again, I appreciate you, man, for letting me return the favor, for having you on the platform. You dropped some powerful nuggets, and again, I love the fact that your systematic approach to everything, to where you're going to get actionable results, and you just seems like he comes across super nice, but I bet you he's a no nonsense guy. The more we talking about, I don't know. No, that's not what we're here for.
Yes, some of my clients
came to me for a reason.
Yeah, some of my clients, that's my best friend will be quick to tell you that. That's very true.
This is a nice guy facade. You get him in the coaching room, he's going to drill you down. But I love it. But the performance and the execution is going to be high level. Again, man, I appreciate your time, your expertise, your friendship, and I look forward to doing this again. Hold on one tight. I'm gonna close this out with a quick video, and let's chat behind the scenes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.